Teenagers throwing chairs at families while children hide under tables. 53 people arrested in Chicago in a single weekend. 5 police officers hit by a car. Every news channel is showing you what happened. Nobody is showing you what caused it. The federal government cut $167 million from youth programs earlier this year. Months later, this started. That is not a coincidence. And by the end of this video, you will never look at these clips the same way again. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to JJ Decoded, where we break down the juvenile justice system so it actually makes sense. Today, we are talking about teen takeovers, what they are, where they are happening, who is getting arrested, and most importantly, what the data and experts say is actually driving this. I am going to give you facts, not hot takes. Let us get into it. A teen takeover is a mass gathering of teenagers in a public space, a mall, a park, a beach, a restaurant strip, organized almost entirely through social media. And here's what most coverage skips. Many of these start as teenagers simply wanting to hang out, get together, socialize. But in 2026, organizers are now using AI-generated flyers, hiding the exact location until the last minute to stay ahead of police response. And when hundreds, sometimes thousands of teenagers show up to the same spot with no structure, no programming, and no adults, it can spiral fast. Let me walk you through what has actually happened in 2026. Every one of these is documented and on the record. February 16, New York City, the Bronx, teen takeover at Bay Plaza Mall, 17 teenagers and 1 adult arrested. March 28th, Beaufort, Georgia, 7 juveniles and 2 adults arrested, 1 juvenile found with a weapon, 1 juvenile injured. March 29th, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Bayshore Mall, large group of youth filmed fighting, 13 arrested. April, Washington, D.C., Navy Yard, roughly 200 teenagers gather. The situation turns violent, gunfire, robbery, disorderly conduct. May 9th, Tampa, Florida, 22 people arrested, ages 12 to 21. Charges include possession of weapons and narcotics. May 16th, Washington, D.C., Navy Yard, Chipotle. This is the clip that went everywhere. Adults and young children huddled in the corner while teenagers hurled furniture across the restaurant. One suspect on video uses a child's high chair as a weapon. Memorial Day weekend, Chicago. This one made national headlines. Hundreds of teenagers converge on the lakefront. During the police response, 5 officers are struck by a moving vehicle. Clashes erupt at a Southside beach. 53 arrests, 9 weapons confiscated. Orlando, Florida, approximately 1,000 teenagers at Icon Park in a single night. 9 arrests, significant police response. This is not isolated. This is a national pattern, and summer has barely begun. On April 16, 2026, Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser used emergency powers, and I need you to hear that phrase, emergency powers, to impose a citywide curfew on every person under 18, 11 p.m., every night until further notice. Chicago ramped up police presence at beaches and parks. Cities across the country added security at malls, more fencing, more officers, more arrests. The response nearly everywhere has been the same. More enforcement, more restrictions, more criminalization. And here is what decades of juvenile justice research tells us. Enforcement without addressing root cause does not solve the problem, it moves it. So let us talk about the root cause. Reason 1. COVID stole their development. This is not an excuse. This is a documented fact. The teenagers involved in these incidents in 2026, the 15, 16, 17-year-olds, went into COVID lockdown during middle school, the ages of 11 to 14, the exact years when young people learn how to navigate the world, manage conflict, and function in groups. Those kids missed that window entirely. Jasmine Ford, a psychiatric nurse practitioner and clinical instructor at the University of Illinois, Chicago, said teenagers today face a mental health crisis that accelerated during the pandemic and has not returned to pre-COVID levels. They are seeking connection, craving belonging, and they are doing it the only way they know how, in large groups, in public, amplified on every platform. Reason 2. Third spaces have disappeared. A third space is any place that is not home and is not school. A rec center, a youth club, a community pool, a park with supervised programming. These spaces are critical to healthy teen development, and they are increasingly gone. Teens themselves, when asked, are not demanding less police. They are asking for more youth programming, more places to exist, more things to do. When you eliminate those spaces, you should not be surprised when they create their own. Reason 3. This is the one the news is not covering. Earlier this year, the Trump administration terminated over 60 federal grants that funded youth justice and prevention programs across the country. Total amount eliminated, $167 million. These were not abstract programs. They funded youth violence prevention, re-entry programs for incarcerated youth, community-based alternatives to detention, mental health support for at-risk youth, and juvenile defense services. Gone. Terminated. Let me make sure the timeline is clear. The federal government cuts $167 million from programs designed to keep youth stable and out of crisis. Months later, teenagers with nowhere to go and no support systems are gathering in malls and causing chaos. You cannot defund the solution and then criminalize the problem. Now, and this is critical, I want to give you the full data picture, because the coverage makes it sound like juvenile crime is at an all-time high. It is not. Juvenile arrests are 28% lower than they were before COVID. Youth incarceration has dropped 74% since the year 2000. What is rising is visibility, because every incident is on video and on your timeline within minutes. That does not mean teen takeovers are not serious. They are. But the solution has to match the actual problem, which is not a generation of criminals. It is a generation of young people who are disconnected, under-resourced, and largely abandoned by the systems that are supposed to support them. So here is where I land. Teen takeovers are real. Some are dangerous. The families who were in that restaurant, the officers who were hurt in Chicago, their experience matters. That is not up for debate. But if the only response is curfews, arrests, and more police, we will be watching the same videos next summer and the summer after that, wondering why nothing changed. The research is not ambiguous. We just cut $167 million from the exact programs that could help. And summer is just starting. Pay attention to what happens next. If this video gave you something the news did not, share it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you on the next one.